Austin here, coming to you from the south side of Forester Pass on John Muir Trail. Just thought I would take an opportunity to talk about how I approached filming this trip. It has been by far the most challenging thing to plan for. Everything from data storage, power storage, having enough batteries, making sure the footage isn't going to be the same thing every single day, that kind of stuff. So just thought I'd kind of break down the equipment I'm using, and then kind of maybe get into how I film and that kind of thing. So I'll start off with the two cameras that I'm using. The first is what I'm shooting this video on. It's a Canon M50. I've got a 18 to 150 millimeter lens on that, and then also a lens hood on the lens. The lens hood, I've found in some of my previous videos, I get some glare on the footage. So the lens hood is sort of for that, but the other reason for the lens hood is it's actually really good protection for the lens itself, because I clip it on my backpack strap. I have a Peak Designs clip that goes on my left strap of my pack, so it's just a little extra protection to keep the glass maybe cleaner, but definitely keeps it from any kind of impact. So and then on top for sound, I've got a Rode Video Micro with a dead cat, and that has gotten more comments on this trip than anything. What's that thing on the top of your camera? Yeah, so I like to have good sound. In my opinion, sound is just as important as video. So anyways, Canon M50. The GoPro that I'm carrying is the GoPro Hero 8, and then I've got that mounted on a UltraPod tripod. I switched to the UltraPod maybe last year. It served me really well. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, because before that I had a GorillaPod type thing where you could wrap it around trees and whatnot, and I thought I was going to miss that, and I really don't. The UltraPod's been really, really good to me. The other tripod that I have that the M50's on right now is the Amazon Basics 50-inch aluminum tripod, and I am one of those people that I don't need to spend a lot of money on a piece of gear if it works, and the Amazon tripod is a perfect example. I think it goes for like $20. I've gotten it for $15 before, but there's nothing, I can't find anything lighter. There's all the carbon fiber tripod options that are out there are still heavier than this baby, and it's never going to hold the weight that these carbon fiber tripods are made for. I'm probably, at least not in the near future, going to be carrying some full frame camera with some massive lens on it, so it does the trick. So those are my two cameras and my two tripods. Each tripod has a quick release plate on it, and then the M50 has a Peak Designs quick release plate, and then I purchased a little kind of miniature quick release plate for the GoPro. I'll show you that real quick. Just a standard GoPro mount, and then it is mounted on that quick release plate. So those are the cameras. That's where all the footage comes from. I use the M50 for videos like this. I use it for vlogging. I'll use it for stills. It creates all kinds of good footage for those. However, the stabilization, well, there's nothing that can touch the GoPro stabilization. So for walking shots, anything that's moving, underwater obviously, the GoPro is going to be the go-to, and I've gotten really, really good results from both cameras. The other thing that the GoPro is good for is when there's adverse weather. So if there's raining or anything nasty, I can pack away my M50, shoot on the GoPro. Obviously not going to get the same results as far as sound and that kind of thing, but it's still going to be great. I'm still going to be able to record footage no matter what the weather is. So let's talk about the magic behind the curtains for these two cameras. We'll talk about power power first. So with batteries, you know, they always say that you pack your fears, and I'd like to think that on the camping side of packing for this trip, I've done pretty well at eliminating anything that is unnecessary. Just about everything that is in my pack I have touched at some point on this trip. There's nothing other than a few emergency items that, knock on wood, I have not needed. Just about everything that I've been carrying I have touched at one point, at least once a day, if not you know, every other day. So I feel good, like my fears are kind of dwindled down on that end. However, power and data storage for my cameras, that's the fear that I just can't get over. I brought too many batteries, I brought enough battery packs, but then I brought too much storage. But I would rather err on the side of caution as far as that's concerned, because for me, walking away from this trip, whatever footage I am able to capture, that's going to be there forever. And so that is, for me, a top priority as far as what I carry. So I'm willing to carry a little extra weight for that. So what I will talk about first is what I am able to access during the day. I've got a hip pack here. This is made by Chicken Tramper Ultralight Gear, or C-Tug. This is their 4-liter pack. This is good for when there's adverse weather. I can put my M50 in here. I have to take the mic off the top just so it'll fit, but the M50 fits in this bad boy. It's made out of X-Pack material, and it's got a water resistant zipper, so it's pretty much weatherproof, and I feel comfortable putting the M50 in there when it's raining or nasty or anything like that. Normally though, open this bad boy up, got my map that's now on the ground, but I'll keep my battery bag in here, and that's in case I need to switch batteries out during the day. Most of the time I don't, but I have found in past trips where I do, and it's a pain in the butt to take my pack off to switch batteries out. So the battery bag that I have is made by Hilltop Packs, and it is the battery bag that you never knew you needed until you got it. It is absolutely ingenious. Obviously you see there's a red side and a green side. So if you open up the drawstring, check it out, you can kind of see there's a divider in the center. Now, the idea is all my good batteries that are ready to charge are on the green side. And so if I need a battery to go into the camera, I can come to the green side, and I know that all the batteries on the green side are good to go. As I go through the batteries, I put them on the red side. Now you can see right now there's no batteries on the red side because I just charged everything up in Independence for our 0, but there'll be some batteries in there probably tomorrow. So that's the battery bag. I've got 6 batteries for the Canon, and I have 10 batteries for the GoPro. I told you I had too many batteries. It's my fear. Don't judge me. Grand scheme of things, if this keeps me from, you know, if this enables me to have footage, so be it. Oh, I can acknowledge that it's too many batteries, especially for the GoPro. But yeah, so those are my batteries. Also in here, I have a second lens for the M50. The 18-to-150 lens is what I have on there 98% of the time. But I also carry a 22mm prime lens that has a lower f-stop. It's got a 1.4 f-stop, so it handles low light just a little better. So if I'm taking something at dusk or dawn or anything like that, bam, got my 22mm prime lens. It's super small, it's super light, so I don't mind carrying it, and it enables me to have maybe some better products in low light conditions. So, and then I just keep it in a little padded drawstring bag, and then that goes in there. Also in here, I carry my SD cards, and I mentioned that data storage was one of my other fears. So these are, I guess, what you can call them like Swiss Army knives for my SD cards. Each one has 3 little, I'll call them blades that fold out, and then have just a plethora of SD cards. So I've got micro SD cards for the GoPro, and then full-size SD cards for the Canon. And then you can see that one has, like this one has more of the big cards versus the micro SD cards, so I've just got it labeled SD. And then over here, this one just happens to have more micro SD cards, so I've got it labeled micro SD. And I just keep it labeled to keep things simple, because what I'm, in theory, I'm digging in here while I'm walking to switch out a card or something like that. So, and then also this is more of a mechanical thing, but I carry a little Allen wrench, and this is the only thing that can tighten the screw that goes on, that attaches the quick release plate on the Canon M50, and so I just keep that. Pretty hard to, it's actually easy to lose, and so that's why I've got a little dingle dangle on there, and then I keep it in there. I've only had to use it once so far. Also in the pack, I carry a microfiber towel in case I need to clean the lens on the go or anything like that. Got this handy. So that's everything in the hip pack. So imagine that I've gotten to camp, day is over, it's time to charge stuff. So I get out my electronics bag. This is also made by Hilltop Packs. It's a custom roll top DCF pack or bag. Love this thing. Hilltop Packs is super awesome. They do all kinds of cool custom stuff. So I had this made just for this trip. So let's open this bad boy up and see what's inside. On top, I have a quart-size Ziploc bag with all my charging cables. I again erred on the side of bringing too much than too little, so I have several cords that are universal USB that charges my battery pack. So when I'm going into town, that takes a standard USB plug. The GoPro takes the USB-C, and then my phone also takes USB-C. So I've got 3 USB-Cs and 3 standard universal or micro USB plugs. Also in here, I carry, carry an extra GoPro mount with a quick release plate and the little screw, just in case something bad happens to the GoPro. And then lastly, I carry an extra battery door for the GoPro Hero 8. For any of you that have the Hero 8, know that that battery door comes off. I can't believe that GoPro made this to where it snaps off so easily. My friends in the whitewater kayaking community feel my pain, because when I've been changing batteries on kayaking trips, I've actually plopped this into the water once. Luckily I was able to find it, but River King Pete was the one that suggested buying a spare. And I was like, why have I not thought of that before? So I carry a spare just in case. So that's my my cord bag. Here's where the weight comes from. This massive beast is in a gallon Ziploc bag, and this is all of my charging options. So when I go into camp or when I'm in town, if I need to charge stuff or back up data, everything that I need is in here. I'll talk about power first. And again, don't judge me, because I know there's some ultralighters out there that are going to scoff at what I'm about to pull out. 2 PowerCore 2 20,000 milliamp battery banks. There are a lot of people in the backpacking community that are like, good Lord, why do you have 40,000 milliamps of power for a backpacking trip? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. So part of the way that I shoot footage is I really enjoy shooting overnight time lapses, getting stars, getting the moon, whatnot. And I use my GoPro for that. GoPro batteries don't last all night. And so what I will do is plug up one of these bad boys directly to the GoPro. I've got a little Velcro strap on my Amazon Basics tripod. and so that way the GoPro can take a time lapse for the entire night. And that sucks up a lot of juice. For this last stretch that we did before we had our Zero in Independence, it was 6 days where I didn't, all I had were these two things to recharge everything. And I used up all 40,000 milliamps on overnight stuff, charging my phone, charging my my Garmin, because I had to recharge that once while in that 6 day period. So you can judge me all you want, but I used it, so that means I need it. I also will carry, these are the little battery charging, whatchamacallits, I don't know. It's what you put the batteries in to charge them. I don't know what the name is. This one's for the GoPro. This one's for the Canon. This holds 2 batteries. This holds 3 batteries. Pretty self-explanatory. I also will carry, and this was a late addition that I was watching one of Ivy Tat's videos, and he does, you know, he's, I love his personality, but he is a really, really gifted videographer and photographer. And he carries a nice camera on his, right now he's doing CDT, but he carries a little squeegee or whatever this thing is called. I use this to blow off the dust from my lenses, and then I'll actually take the lens off of the camera, and I'll make sure there's no dust on the sensor for the Canon. This may feel superfluous. It may be. On my last shakedown trip before this trip, Joe and I hiked the second floor of the Mountains to Sea Trail, and going back through that footage, I actually noticed some sensor dust in the footage, and I was like, ah! And there's no way to like know unless you check or you do some preventative maintenance. So kind of my rhythm for this trip is that every other day I completely clean both cameras, make sure that they're good to go and doesn't get too grimy, too nasty. So, moving on to the last 2 items. Oh, and before we move on, charging. This is an Anker charging brick with a wall outlet, and it has 4 USB plugs. Go ahead and judge me for having 4 USB plugs instead of 2 or 1 or whatever. But when I get into town, clearly I've got a lot of stuff to charge, and this is the most economical and efficient way to charge multiple stuffs or multiple items at once. So that's that. Now, here is something I'm a little proud of myself for finding. For those of you that are familiar with the NAR box, it is a method of backing up data in the field, and it also has a bunch of bells and whistles, and it has internal storage. It is also super expensive. And I am very much an amateur. I'm not a professional, and so I've got to, you know, I'm not going to be getting an NAR box. Sorry. However, the Rav Power has come out with this thing. I want to say it's called a file hub, and this thing is ingenious. What this enables me to do is take an SD card from my camera. It's got an SD card slot. Then you take off the cover here, and it's got a USB port. And so what I can do is I can back up my SD cards onto a USB drive. And so that's exactly what I do on this trip. To do that, so it does it a couple of different ways. So this device creates its own wireless network. And what you do is turn your phone on, turn your wireless on, connect to the device, and then you can back up files, you can organize files, everything through an app on your phone. The other cool thing about the Rav Power File Hub is you actually don't even need to have this device hooked up to your phone in order to back up the SD cards. You can do it, but it's not required. You can actually just turn it on, put the SD card in the slot, plug up whatever USB device you've got that you want to back up to, and then it's got a little button right here to the right of the SD card slot. You hold that down, and then all you got to do is wait for the little SD card light to start blinking, and it's backing it up. So it does it as a standalone device too, which is pretty cool. And it works. It has given me great peace of mind. So far I've got like probably 500 gigabytes of data, and if I didn't have a method of storing or backing up, I'd have to have at least 500 gigabytes worth of SD cards. I do have 500 gigabytes worth of SD cards, but if something were to happen to those SD cards, it would crush me. I lost 3 days of footage on my Mountains to Sea Trail segment 4 hike because I manhandled an SD card and it broke, and it was not fun. Not an experience that I wish to repeat. So this is how I've learned from my mistakes. This is what I back up all of my data onto. This is a hard case. Open it up, and this is a 1 terabyte SSD hard drive. This is more than enough to back up everything that I've got. And it's got the USB adapter. It's actually a USB-C to USB-C. So I can actually plug the hard drive directly into my phone if I want to just review the footage that I've backed up. I don't have to fire this thing up, use up battery for the wireless or anything like that. And like I said, data and power are my fears on this trip. And so just in case, if I can get it out, holy smokes, there it comes. This is just a tiny little thumb drive, but it's 256 gigabytes, just in case 1 terabyte's not enough. It's super small, super light. It's probably pretty easy to lose. That's why I put just a little green ribbon on it so you can actually see it in case you drop it. So that, I think, is it. That's my system. That has been what I've been using for the last 2.5 weeks on the trail, and so far so good. It has been working. So that's the logistics of how I approach filming on this trip. It is not the way to do it. I am not a professional. I learn from mistakes, and I make a lot of them. So I guess I've learned a lot. But hopefully you've enjoyed watching the trip videos. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you've got questions about anything that you've seen, feel free to leave them down in the comments. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm all self-taught. I do a lot of research on the internet, trying to figure out what works. And right now, this is my setup. This could change as soon as I get back. I might find some new gadget that does something better or whatever. But for now, I'm good. So hopefully you got something out of this. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you out there. Have a good time.